Greetings, this is Farel. Welcome to my video and YouTube channel and all that. Today we're finishing up page 17, doing the color on page 17, and starting page 18 of Robot Todd, my upcoming series that I'm 18 pages into. So almost got the first issue done, or rounding down or winding down or whatever you call it. And here's the pencils. This is what I basically did last time, and it's a little more detail heavy and complicated than the last one. Yeah, so here's the inks. I didn't film me doing the inks this time for whatever reason, but that's basically what the inks look like there. We got Robot Todd turning on these monitors in the first panel, and then talking to Fernfels in the second panel, and then he sees some danger in the third panel, and is going to run outside, or I guess he sees it on the next page, actually. So not on this page, but yeah. So this page, I kind of did it a little more piecemeal than the last page, where I knew what I wanted, and I thought I had like a vision for it. But I think like because each little panel was sort of a different scene and a different color scheme, that it kind of lacks, the finish sort of lacked an overall vibe to it. See, at that point, like I really like that second panel, and the fourth panel. I like the Fernfels shots a lot. And if the whole page was kind of like that color scheme, but I think like mixed with the blue and the yellows and everything, it just kind of ended up looking a little like all over the place for my taste, and I wasn't not super happy with the finish, but I definitely got it to a point of completion where I can't really work on it anymore. So yeah, and here you just see me like, I guess wrapping up the colors, and I don't really know what I could have done as a solution, because the previous page is a lot more, I guess, kind of lighter, and it feels more cohesive. Like it feels like all sort of tied together, like the same, like a strong blue color overall. Whereas this one, I think I just was sort of just focusing on too much like the individual little pictures, and I wasn't really thinking about the overall color scheme of it, which I don't really know what I could have done to change that, because I was really happy with it while I was working on it. But yeah, just once I was done, I was like, that kind of, maybe I should have taken more steps back from it as I was going, rather than just focusing so much on the little details as I did. But the coloring actually didn't take me that long. This week, I did a couple other drawings, and the pencils were actually taking me like a really long time on the page 18, which you'll see here at the end of the video, and I didn't actually finish them. So hopefully by next week I'll have finished page 18, but instead of just getting the pencils done. But yeah, here you can see I'm coloring in the little individual monitors, and I'm basing it all off the previous page. Like even there's sort of like a repeated theme or like motif or whatever you call it going on with the 4-panel grid of the comic, and then the 4 panels of the monitors that Robot Todd's looking at. Yeah, I kind of wanted that, like when I was doing the last page, I was like, oh, that would be cool to do that, have the repeated, the sort of metatextual kind of aspect of that. So I didn't really do like a lot of, I guess, interesting compositions necessarily with this page, but it's like Robot Todd looking at the 4 monitors, and then zooming in the second panel, seeing Fernfels, and they're having like a dialogue exchange. And the third panel is kind of like zooming back out, and then you see like 2 more monitors have turned on, and the third monitor is the other wizard, and the 4th monitor is the ghost of the wizard that was killed earlier in the story. So here we got a pretty decent look at the finish. That's I haven't even scanned this page yet, but that's pretty much how it looks. I think the only thing I've done different is one of the exclamation points wasn't colored in, and I added some yellow to that. But, yeah, and here she actually can kind of see him like interacting with him. She sees him, and then it's like, oh, can you hear me? And then he's like responds affirmative. But she's actually able to talk, but he hasn't really talked to anyone yet. He's just using symbols and like thought bubbles and stuff. So here I have a couple of copies of the WRENCHIES, which you can get through my Patreon if you like sign up for my Patreon at whatever tier, and then just contact me. I can like we can work out a deal where you can PayPal me and I'll do a drawing in it. And someone actually requested Robot Todd, me to do a drawing of Robot Todd in the Wrenchies, who actually doesn't appear in the Wrenchies. He doesn't really appear until It Will All Hurt, which I was doing kind of around the same time at the end while I was working on the Wrenchies. And I wasn't really happy with that first Robot Todd drawing, so I decided, and I penciled it first, whereas this one, I just did straight line and, straight pen ink, and watercolor. Both of them, or used gouache because the paper on the Wrenchies is a little slicker, and I felt like the gouache would work a little better with it. So then the person that bought the first copy, I offered him the second one. I was like, would you like this one or this one? I actually like this second one better, but he actually went with the first one. He liked it better because he liked the size, I guess, and the amount of time. I spent a lot more time on that first one. So someone else contacted me about buying this one, and they said it was sort of like, I asked them if they wanted a specific sketch, and they said it was artist choice. So I just decided to add some characters that were actually in the Wrenchies into the book. I put like Todd and Tad are both on the page together. And I kind of messed up at first where I was going to make the little pylon that he was standing on in the foreground. And then as I started to draw it, I kind of forgot what I was doing and started to add another one behind him. And I was like, oh, darn it, I screwed that up. So I had to try to fix it. And I think it comes out okay. So we got Hollis there on the right, Tad and Murmur added to that drawing. Anyway, here's a Robot Todd page 18, and here's like the little thumbnails that I did for it. I have all kind of written out in thumbnail form in my sketchbook there, you can see on the right. And here you can see I'm just sort of redoing it as little drawings just to get like an idea in my head of what I want the compositions to look like. Normally I don't do that. Normally I just kind of go into the page, based off what I have written, but this time I was feeling a little, trepidatious or something about starting it. You can even see here I started to pencil it and then I erased it all and started over again. But yeah, I kept, sort of doubting myself with like, I don't even doubting myself as ever, but just sort of figuring it out. Like, I don't know why, but I felt like the last couple of pages were really challenging in a different way. Just sort of like, I guess story-wise, like I'm adding little elements like that little duck character on the previous page, like sitting up, like I was, kind of figuring that out as I went on the page, like actually working it out, while I was drawing it. And same thing with this page where I'm like trying to think of like story elements that I want to add, and like the third panel, this panel that I'm working on here, was really hard for me to visualize. I don't know why. Maybe just because I was trying to think of a way that I could show Robot Todd leaving the little place he was at and going to the little place outside that this other character Sept is standing and being attacked by these little creatures. And I just kind of had a sort of a vague idea of these like sort of mole men type creatures that were going to attack him. I wanted them to be small, like little guys, but I didn't really have much thought out beyond that. So I just grabbed a blank piece of paper, like Bristol paper that I had drawn like a little fox on, and worked out some ideas here. And I first had them like wearing t-shirts and shorts, and then I think I changed them eventually to that like basketball type jersey thing. And I thought, oh, I'll just have zeros on all their shirts and like have them be like dirty shirts. And they're going to be all white, kind of like luminescent little, and cave dwellers. And I was watching this like video on Instagram, like this monkey with like a baby chick or something. And I kind of did like a combo of their faces. So yeah, that's pretty much the design of their just worked out in this video. You can see that happening. And so here's the refined pencils of the first panel. And the second panel is a little more refined. I don't have it quite finished yet. And the third and fourth panel are really rough. Fourth panel especially. So that's the end of this video this time. Thanks for watching. Check out my Patreon if you want. I have an Instagram, Farel Dal, I think, for both of those. And you can join the Patreon for just like $2 a month. And yeah, get a copy of one of these Wrenchies or The Often Wrong or Proxima Centauri. I got all those books. And yeah, that's it. Bye.